Behind this elegant 17th century facade on Keizersgracht 123 lies a secret most people walking past have no idea about. Inside are 30,000 rare books, and among them, 8,000 are so special, so forbidden, they were never even recorded in history. In the 1600s, just owning or reading these texts could get you executed. This is the Embassy of Free Mind. This building is called the House of Six Heads, designed by Hendrik de Keyser to remain for 1,000 years in the city of Amsterdam. It is one of the few red brick buildings that you see today. And I want to point out the buildings that are next to it. Very somber, Amsterdam classic architecture. This is opulent. It commands power because inside there was power, knowledge, incredible access to ideas, changed the course of humanity. There are 6 heads here. Check this out. This is actually called the house with 6 heads. Why? Well, the head on the left side is Apollo. Apollo represented the sun, the arts, the creativity. And on the right side is Ceres, harvest, agriculture. And on that right side, we have Hermes, the important one, because it's right above the arch, right above the entrance. And it's really important the way it's also looking at left, and the other one is looking at right. So one that is looking left is the messenger, Mercury or Hermes, which is the messenger of God, connecting God with the earth and knowledge in between. The next house, the next head is the head of Minerva, wisdom, or also known as Athena. Who is always entering the building on the ark. You enter between the God and wisdom, so you enter in a space that is welcoming thought, debates, and exclusivity in a way of people thinking and expressing themselves. And on the right side, my favorite, Bacchus. Bacchus was a symbol of celebration, wine, jokes, and joy. And on the right side, you have Diana, the last one, the goddess of hunting and goddess of chasing. So these 6 heads made this building so different. And I want to show you a really interesting part of these doors. These are original doors. And I think it's just something unique because these are from 1622 and the doors are still there. And here the horses will go in here. They will go from in here and they will go straight to the gardens. And then they will park. We're going to show you later the gardens inside. And they will park the horses there and they can enter from the back. And these were for the servants. They can enter from there. And also the supplies, etc. will come in from both doors. One of the most interesting things here is one of the owners in about 18th century was really into human body analytics and also just surgery and medicine. And the rumor goes that he actually wanted to have bodies to dissect and to find out how the human body works. So he made a deal with the hangman down there, that the hangman will bring dead bodies with the boats right there in the canal, and then they will bring him straight in here, where he will go in and he will dissect them and learn about the human body underneath the house. And today, this building actually serves as a really interesting center. It's called the Embassy of the Free Mind, where you can come in, debate, learn about alchemy, and all sorts of interesting things. And I want to take you inside with this key. Podcast. This is the entrance of the House of Heads building. Now, in Amsterdam, this is not normal. First of all, you have these large piles of wood that is going across the beams right there. These are dark Swedish wood that they brought all the way from Sweden in boats right here in front. You have this arc that is bringing the sense of the entire building together. And I just adore the space and light that is in this entrance. And again, in Amsterdam, luxury is defined by entrance of light and abundance of space. And this definitely oozes both of them. It definitely connected with the people who came in. You want to show your power, strength, and influence. And he did that. Hendrik de Keyser, who was the architect, took in all these in account, all the ratios. By the way, the outside of the building is built with golden ratio of Fibonacci. Everything inside as well is following that same pattern. The golden ratio. You'll see it all around the building. And those who know how that works, you let me know, because I am a little bit below that pay grade. But let's continue. You have two statues of very important people that were influential and very much central part of free thinking. This guy right here, Quispel, was translating one of the first Qurans into Dutch. And you have another guy here, Ficino, who was very central part of the thought patterns and thinking of the Western European areas. I want to show you a really beautiful area. Again, this great Swedish oak, beautiful, strong trees, but look at this calm, gorgeous space. Again, very large ceiling here, at least 5 meters tall, maybe even more. And then you have these gorgeous stained glass windows. And this is the way all the windows back in the days of 17th century in Amsterdam were. Now they're different. Now you can see some things up there. Do you know what that is, Mikael? Do you know any idea? Coat of arms of Amsterdam. You have the triple X. It symbolizes bravery, determinism, and heroism, because this city always wanted to have a lot of entrepreneurs, people who push the boundaries, people who think differently. And they will gather here and they will talk and they will debate and they will show. And all these paintings around, all these you can actually buy here at the Embassy of Free Mind, and they have a lot of meaning, mysticism, and a lot of other little intricate things that I'm going to show you in the next room. Come with me to what is probably one of the most luxurious halls in the entire city. Welcome to the Great Hall of the Embassy of the Free Mind. This is where Nicholas Sawyer definitely showed his power, influence, wealth, and beyond everything, his taste for excellence and wealth, basically. Because Amsterdam back in days was quite a city where people will come and learn, but also debate. But in 16th century, this city had 25,000 people living here. Population was just 25,000. But within 100 years, that population went from 25 to 250,000 because of the Spanish Empire was pushing a lot of the free thinkers out of their territory, suppressing any ideology. So a lot of free thinkers came here, and this house was the center point of the free thought. It was in fact the bookstore of the world. And you can see some amazing posters on the walls, and these are actually part of the books that you will find around this gorgeous building. And we're going to show you some of the most amazing books, because this house has 30,000 books, of which 8,000 are extremely rare, and of which 1,000 of them are absolutely unique pieces that don't exist anywhere in the world. And I want to show you some of the most interesting ones later. Stay tuned for that. But let me just show you this fireplace, because it is so unique. Okay, so you have the coat of arms, again, of the family. On the left side, the Geer family that owned the house after Nicholas Sawyer. And on the right side, his wife's, Angelica's, coat of arms. And on top, there is this symbol of, looks like a shouting, some kind of a spirit, but this is called a knab. That is like a psychedelic, abstract painting that is basically copying or showing some kind of an animal. But then look at the sheer size of this fireplace. It is so huge. Look at how big it is. It is massive. These are Italian marble brought from Carrara or something like that. And it is absolutely, if you stand here, you could just notice that when they were gathered around the fireplace, debating, thinking, you had a fire on, you show who is the boss of the city, basically. And if you go in a little bit, you see the tulips, these beautiful tiles, handmade, also showing that there's a lot of wealth in this town, and the owner is very wealthy because tulips back then served also as payment methods. They were very valuable. They came from Turkey, and eventually Dutch took a lot of the tulips into their hearts and started trading. And also here, a lot of symbolism. There's the mother basically showing the fertility and connection with love. So this house is full of symbolism, and I'm going to show you one incredible painting or photo that hopefully you've never seen in your life, because I certainly haven't seen it. This is the rivers of life or faith of man in all lands on earth. And it starts from 9000 BC, goes all the way down to 1858 when Queen Victoria of England ruled United Kingdom. There are some incredible details here, some insane things, like for example, the great festival and winter solstice were common. Parents worshipped by children. There are, for example, Egyptians say the dead go to amenity when Osiris now presides. And for example, here is like the Greeks attacked the Persians, Persians attacked the Greeks. The Battle of Marathon takes place. Incredible details of humanity. But what I've never seen is everything in one massive image, in a flow of rivers, so you can follow and see where our humanity started, how it developed, and how it's still going. A remarkable thing to witness. By the way, look at these doors. I mean, these doors, I love these doors. Probably also Bavarian wood, looks like it, quite hard, because this is not easy to find in this country. There are not many autochthonous or native woods like this, or trees, so they had to bring a lot of them outside of the country. This is a good example. Just before we leave, I'm going to show you my favorite photo here, or poster. We're going to see this original book upstairs, but this is basically Mother Nature, or Fama Sophia, which is connecting all the world's knowledge of science, chemistry, and biology into one, like a beautiful presentation. A lot of philosophy, it's just full of symbolism that I'm going to show you upstairs. Follow me to one of the most unique rooms in the entire city of Amsterdam. This is the room of Amsterdam's Grail, and this is an actual masterpiece, very unique in anywhere in the world. And they have an exhibition right now where they're showing this unique Grail. And look at the details of the colors, the pop-ups of the gold, the beautiful jade, emerald, or I would say emerald green. That is just so much detail going on there. You can spend hours just staring at this. Gorgeous. The colors, you cannot understand how much they pop up in real life. There are symbolism. This is basically the story of Jesus and the faith of Christianity, but you can see there starts from the cup of Jamshid, who was the Persian king, and the cup is right there, starting the life, because Jamshid was the first king, according to Shahnameh, which is the Book of Kings of Ferdowsi. You can see a lot of symbolism here, all the way from the start of the religion to the current status of humanity trying to find the elixir of life. The guy who owned this place, the guy who actually did put a lot of these beautiful ornaments and buildings in place, is painted here. His painting is, it looks a lot like Rembrandt's painting, but I'm not going to dare to say that because maybe commentary is going to blow up. But that is the Heer. That guy was who made this room, who financed a lot of Dutch explorations around the world. He's an incredibly important part of Dutch history. It was very typical back then to have a green lung in any building. Inside of any building, they actually had almost a law that you had to have a garden, because it was the way the city will breathe. Now, there again, because this is the house of, or the embassy of the free mind, you have a lot of symbolism. One right here is actually a passage from the Emerald Tablet, translated by Isaac Newton himself. An Emerald Tablet is obviously interesting. It has a lot of meanings. For example, the Philosopher's Stone apparently was meant to be discovered in a tablet, but also how their eternal life could be found, but also alchemy, how to turn typical or normal metals into gold. So emerald tablet is a very important part of this building. Now, I just want to point out the serenity of this space. It's a huge garden in one of the most expensive cities and one of the most expensive streets within that city. And you have the abundance of space. Abundance. And here, during springtime, all the tulips that they have planted here will just pop up. So it's definitely a show worth coming to. So, if you've ever been in Amsterdam's houses, you know that the space is very limited inside. So you have very steep stairs that go up. They're narrow because it's expensive to build stairs. But have a look at these steps. Now you might wonder, yeah, okay, Kevin, what are you talking about? Steps are not so, the stairs are not the big deal. Yes, it is a big deal. Look how wide it is. Look the depth of it as well. And if you actually come in here, you can notice how tall it is. The height of this stair is ridiculous. This is not normal. It's, in fact, even today's standards in modern houses, this is very, very unique steps because you can bring in furniture here easily. You can turn around here. This guy really valued space and abundance of it, because when you enter to this magnificent book, like a library of this building, and this is where the building starts shining. So the owner has 30,000 books, and some of them are here visible. Although you might see the visibility of these books, but the most special books are kept hidden, and we have actually access to them. But you can understand the quality of this. Everything is solid, built forever. These are fade-proof buildings, because that building, the architect and the owner built forever. These are evergreen buildings. This is really cool. I was told that this is a painting 2,500 years old, and it's depicting the giant Indian, called giant of the religion. And you're meant to stare at one of the images, and you will see the entire universe just by staring in there. You have also the river Ganges flowing around. So basically, this is depicting our universe and our planet. But if you follow me, we'll go to another room. Remember, this is kind of like a museum slash research center slash debates club. So obviously there are a lot of museum type of elements and books and exposition. Currently they have this books here, many of them incalculable in value. Now I told you earlier, one of my favorite posters down there, and it's here. This is the original one. This is the Divina, Figura Divina. And you might, if you come in closer, you see that this has so many details, and it's handmade. And it's 1670, so 1670. And it depicts the world's knowledge in one place. I mean, this is incredible if you actually look at it in close. It's also depicting Kabbalah, mysticism, alchemy in one place. And because the Freemasons were very essential and important part of the architecture of the cities in Europe, especially London and Amsterdam, and they fled. The Freemasons fled London due to the war and due to a lot of things that happened. And they came here. They found sanctuary here, and they started building and designing the cities and the buildings. And here you have their knowledge in one single book. Now, if you follow me, we'll go to an even more special room. I'm really excited about this one. Again, these doors, it's just like the color they have, right? I like these colors, dark colors. Okay, let's see if we can. We're very privileged to access this. This is very unique. And here you have, honestly, some of the most unique books in the world. Okay, this is Biblia Sacra. According to the owner, this is the most valuable book they have here. And you can see the colors just popping up. It has 4 languages in this book: Hebrew, Chaldaic, Greek, and Latin. Still don't know what exactly Chaldaic is, but you see the colors here. If you see it in person, honestly, this is so gorgeous. It was made by Christophe Plantin from Antwerp in 1581. He was the rock star, 1587. He was a rock star, an absolute mega star of publishing and printing of that time. And there are so many symbols going around depicting infinite amount of combinations. But let me just show you the absolutely gorgeous first page. Look at that. I mean, it's just unbelievable to see this in person, because there is so much going on. Again, this is Sophia. Sophia is the modern earth knowledge, and she's giving us knowledge. There's the coat of arms of Antwerp with Castilla Leon of Spain, Aragon, because it was part of Spain back then. There's a lot of symbolism going on here. It's Freemasonry, geometry, alchemy, some eyes over there. Do you see the eyes, Mikhail? There's some music here. So it's basically giving the knowledge of the world for the reader. And if you go to the next page, I mean, I don't read Latin, but you can just see the quality of this. 1587, still here, still glorious. I think this is the earth. I think this, let's go to the page where the actual starts. Now it starts. This is where the book starts. It's in the golden, again, in Fibonacci ratio, golden ratio, everything is mentioned here. Look at that, right there, golden ratio. And if you go, it's an incredible privilege, by the way, to touch this and to flip different pages of this book. The owners have been incredibly gracious to us. Okay, look at this. It's in Hebrew, Greek, Latin, and Galaic, the other language that's here. And here you can see the 4 languages. Look at how intricately beautiful this is. If you just cannot appreciate it more than I am right now. I'm really one of the few people that have been incredibly gracious to know. So I don't know how many pages there are here. Let me see. Here is another book. Mikhail is very, very excited about this one, because this is the first translation of Quran into Latin. And according to the owner, this is also a priceless in value. I don't dare to even, I don't want to, but I like how it closes, and there are this part here, and then there's this. Wow, look at the value this might have, and also not just in price, but also information. It is according to the owner, this is old information that humanity knew back then, written in one book. All the information about medicine, healthcare, how to eat food, what kind of food it is, all gathered by this one guy who traveled around Europe and went on a quest to find information. And that is book, Persian poet, book of Rumi, which makes me really happy as a Iranian. I'm really, really proud. Let me see if we can sneak in there. Look at that. Oh my God. Isn't that beautiful? It's an incredible privilege to see this house, not just from outside, but also inside. And that's the essence of this series. I want to show you buildings that make a big difference in our society, because I believe buildings have stories to tell, not just the way they look, but also their past and also the future, but above all, what they bring to our present. And Embassy of Free Mind, this building, is incredibly well positioned to not just educate, but also tell you the story of humanity, wisdom, mysticism, alchemy. It's not common to have these buildings around. And in fact, if you look at the description below, you can definitely visit this place and be inspired by the knowledge humanity has to offer. Thank you so much for watching.